It is preseason week 2, or rather, it's officially week 3, and we have some new news, risers and fallers. It's me, Jagger, and that's Jim Coventry, and you guessed it, it's a risers and fallers episode. Jim, we all collectively gasped and had a prayer circle. Ashton Jeanty, we thought, had a serious injury. We find out it's just an ankle sprain. But we're not out of the woods yet. So where are you at with them short term versus long term? And let's think like within the 4 weeks, how is he going to be? And then the rest of the season, how is he going to be?
Obviously the word has not come out as to whether high ankle or not, and that's going to make a big difference in this. All high ankle sprains are not created equal. And I think a lot of people just assume, okay, 4 weeks and you're back. Ask CD Lamb. He came back after about 6. He said he was never right the rest of the way. That's not every player, but there are a lot of ranges of outcomes for Ashton Jeanty if and when he returns. I don't know how long that is, but when we're drafting, we got to be careful because if it saps explosiveness and it's an issue for an extended period, even if he's on the field, and if you're drafting him to be a premium player, you might end up being disappointed. On the other hand, sometimes a player comes back and he's fine, in which case you'd get a steal. So that's going to be the fantasy drafter's conundrum. It's where your risk tolerance is at.
Exactly. And that brings me to my next question. Where are you going to take him in redraft now? Because I was on some drafts, I would take him right in the first round at the tail end. That's done now. I feel like that's done. So is it 4th, 5th round?
So I think now that the news changed, look, when the news came out last night, like you said, on Sunday night, all of a sudden, like in an FFPC Big Gorilla, he went in the 12th round because of the news. When the ankle hadn't, broken as that, they thought it was a knee. So right now, his ADP is going to be in flux quickly. But I think a lot of people are not going to be backed off if they hear ankle because they know it's not broke. They assume that. So people are going to take him early. I would consider taking him in the early 3rd round, but I won't. My risk tolerance is not there. If I was one saying I'm willing to play the risky game and shoot for upside, it would be 3rd round. I don't need the aggravation. I'll take 2 running backs using the first 2 rounds, especially if I'm picking late, and I'm just going to go to receiver over Jeanty in the 3rd round. And by the time it gets to the 4th and 5th, I'm already loading about 2nd and 3rd receivers. I'll let someone else take the problem. I don't want to deal with a hurt player now if I can get a healthy player now instead.
Yeah, let's looking at RotoWire at our ADP report. This is constantly open on my tab, especially during this time. I don't have. We already see the arrows red going down, Jim. Right now he's at 13, right after Justin Jefferson. But the guys going after him, Devon Achane, rather have that. Chase Brown, I think Chase Brown is a 1st round pick in my opinion. Kenneth Walker, rather have that. Derrick Henry. Rather have that. Derrick Henry, it's never been about him. It's never been about him. If the offensive line is at least tolerable and the quarterback play solid, that's 1,200 yards and 12 touchdowns. I'll take that. Amari and Hampton, rather have that upside. It gets hard. And like you said, then the wide receivers come in. George Pickens, A.J. Brown. Okay, Jeremiah Love, I can have the same situation. High ankle sprain with the running back. That's literally where you're talking about, Jim, at the 3rd round, earliest you're taking him. And at that point, what I've been doing in my draft plan, which that's available at RotoWire, is like I've been taking running back early. So like by the time I'm getting here, I'm already done, man. Like I'm already done shopping for running backs. So taking it down to the other side, Mike Washington. I had Ian on here when we were talking about handcuffs, and the Raiders just aren't a good team yet. They've got new quarterbacks in. That offensive line has had improvement, and we're going to talk about the wide receiver situation later. That makes me think that they're going to run the ball a lot. So let's say if Ashton Jeanty's healthy, he has one of the good ankle sprains that he may just be slow for a week or two. I still think Mike Washington has value on his own. Now he might even have standalone value that's low end wide receiver, RB1 in this team, just because they're going to rush so much. Where are you at? Do you think that this is preseason hype?
So Preseason is interesting, and when there's something negative, I think we definitely put some legs on it. When it's positive, we always measure it. Obviously, Washington gets a 33-yard run last week, a 53-yard run this week, and we see the explosive speed that we loved in the draft profiling of this player. But the other thing is that most are not going to talk about is there were 15 runs in the 2 games that Mike Washington had, and 7 of those 15 runs were 2 yards or fewer. So right now, in very mild sample size, but defense is not game planning. We're looking at a runner, half of his runs are not successful. And Clint Kubiak needs an offense to stay on schedule. The last thing the Raiders need is a bunch of 2, 1, 0, and minus 4-yard runs, because that's going to put their sketchy quarterback, Blake Cousins or later Mendoza, in a real disadvantage. So if Mike Washington's a boom or bust runner, the coach could have an issue with that, and that could really put him in that situational spot, which could be dangerous. There could be flex value here. Ultimately, like you said earlier, if Jeanty gets out of the woods and he's healthy, I think Jeanty is going to get 75% of the work. Kubiak backed off his committee comments early, but if it lingers, like you're intimating that's possible, then Washington may be forced into touches. But I am worried about the boom-bust profile in a tiny sample we've seen.
And it's funny that you mentioned that, because the way I'm saying, and they're not the same type of player. Zach Charbonnet was pretty much unanimous RB2 during his time there. So a lot of people were annoyed that he was getting touches. I'm like, he deserves the touches, man. Like, he's a good player. Just because you didn't draft him doesn't make him that worse of a player. But with Mike Washington, that's my question. Zach Charbonnet was incredibly productive in college, good receiving profile. Mike Washington, even though me, an Arkansas guy, I like the tape, it's exactly what you said. Is he a boom bust guy? The receiving work is suspect. And here's the problem with that receiving work. It means nothing if you can't protect the quarterback on third down. It doesn't mean anything. And right now, we don't know if Mike Washington can do it. So I've drafted him as a handcuff. But even when this news broke, man, people are like, well, I guess I'm going to get Mike Washington in the same range as like 5th or 6th round. I'm like, at that point, I'm just taking other bets. And that's why I keep saying to take running back early, so you're not having Mike Washington as your wide receiver too if you had a panic draft. So,
Jagger, real quick, as soon as I heard the worst case scenario about Jeanty thinking it could happen, right away, I wasn't about Mike Washington. I was about James Conner. I have a lot of late round shares. I'm thinking, oh, well, if Jeanty misses a lot of time, they're probably calling Arizona, because they're going to need more than one back. And James Conner will keep your quarterback safe. James Conner might be old, but he can do a lot of things out. But that was the first place where my mind went, that they're going to bring in a veteran.
Yeah, because of course you remember this, Malcolm Brown. I remember Malcolm Brown for the Rams. People were so annoyed back then. They're like, why does Malcolm Brown get touches? Because he protects the quarterback, and he does just enough. Like, he's not great, but it's like, I want to bring up the point that you said, Jim. It's the fuck ups, man. Kenneth Walker is the prime example of this. Kenneth Walker only just now got going, and I'm going back to Zach Charbonnet, because he was that boom bust guy. He would get you either 3 points or either 3 yards or 30 yards. And by I say 3 yards, that's like a stuffed run that he was dancing around too much. So he's a risk, guys, but let's just not raise that ADP too much. We're going to go to a riser here in a moment because we had a big trade. But before we do that, make sure to hit the like, subscribe. And if you're on a mobile device and it's available, hit the hype button. And we already had one draft weekend. There are you Labor Day drafters that are clearly celebrating because none of you took Jeanty already. We still have draft plans available. Jim has one. I have one. You can go and have all of that available. Use our draft assistant. Use all of our tools like our cheat sheets and like the ADP tool that I'm using now. And I do a lot of Dynasty over here. Most of my Dynasty stuff is going to be available behind that paywall, particularly the rankings. So you want to use my code JAG35 for 35% off while you still can, because once the season starts, that price could jump up.
Fantasy football season is right around the corner, and DraftKings is bringing you their biggest best ball contest ever. We're talking a massive $20 million in total prizes, making this the largest best ball tournament in DraftKings history. And this year, not just one, but 3 players are going to walk away as millionaires. And right now, our partners at DraftKings are giving all customers a can't-miss offer. Draft one, get one. Enter a lineup in the $20 million best ball contest for just $25, and you'll receive a bonus best ball ticket to play again free for a share of $20 million, giving you a second shot to be crowned a millionaire. It's simple. Just draft your team once, no weekly management. Let your top scorers automatically start each week. Every breakout star, every clutch play, and every touchdown counts towards your shot at a share of $20 million. Download the DraftKings Daily Fantasy app and enter a lineup for the $20 million best ball contest for just $25 and get a bonus ticket to play free for another shot to win big. That's 2 shots without ever setting your lineups again in DraftKings' biggest best ball contest ever. Draft one, get one, only on DraftKings. The crown is yours in partnership with DraftKings. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 877-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. 18 plus in most states. Restrictions apply. 1 per customer. Enter the Best Ball 20 million headliner contest to get 1 bonus entry. $25 entry fee required. Reward expires at contest lock September 9th, 2026. See terms at DraftKings.com/promotions. Sponsored by DraftKings.
All right, I think I'm done paying the bills. We have a riser. Kayshon Boutte was just traded for Jalen Reed, a safety or defensive back, whatever. And let's just say it's probably like a 6th round pick or something. And they get Boutte. He's immediately the Texans wide receiver 2, probably a fantasy wide receiver 3 that you're going to be excited about, you know, to have some flex appeal. Let's just say what it is, guys. He's immediately the wide receiver 2. I don't believe in Jalen Noel. I don't believe in Tank Dell. This isn't anything to do with Tank Dell. He's just not even ready at this point. And I'm just I think the Texans are ready to move on.
Yeah, Tank Dell, and everybody forgets, but this, Jag, as a rookie, he was great because they had a fullback on the field. There were teams that only play 1 safety high, bombs away. He was winning. His second year before he got hurt, he was only getting 10 PPR points a game. It was not pretty, but everybody forgets that. They remember the first year. And now this guy, he wasn't really fast to start. He was more like twitchy and could get over the top. Well, those days are gone. I don't know how he wins with his tiny frame. So you're right. This is Kayshon Boutte's job. Here's the thing we got to think about with Houston. What are they going to do on offense? Quietly, they brought in Foster Moreau in free agency. They drafted Marlon Klein, and they already have Dalton Schultz there. The league is going to run a lot of 2 and 3 tight end sets this year. This is the way of the league. And they are going to experiment with it. And when they do, if they run 3 tight ends, that means 1 receiver is on the field, which would be Nico Collins. If they run 2, then I think, we'll see Boutte out there. But they're going to want to win with defense and running the football. And if they have leads, and what we saw from C.J. Stroud last year, I don't think they want to bombs away. I think whenever they can run, they will. And we'll see how that all goes. You're right. Kayshon Boutte's going to have plenty of moments. He's a very talented downhill player. But I just think consistency in that offense is going to be a problem because game script isn't going to be his friend.
Jim, it's like you're like watching my Twitter. Like, if you guys follow the RotoWire fantasy football, like that gets me our news really fast on here. When I got the Kayshon Boutte thing, I said Boutte instantly wide receiver 2. Stroud's happy. Kyle Williams, who I'll mention in just a minute, he's a free elf. And it's Jover for Dell and Jalen Noel. I'm sorry, because someone's like, well, Noel or Dell, they could play in the slot. That's not real anymore. It is real, but it's not anything that you want. Best case scenario, you're looking at Jaden Reed. That's best case scenario. And I don't think he's Jaden Reed. Jaden Reed is a very talented player that can't get on in 2 wide receiver sets because what did we just talk about for running backs, Jim? Blocking. And that brings us down to 12 and 13 personnel. This is the boring fantasy shit that people are like, well, blocking doesn't score points, but it gets you on the field to score points. Gets you on the field. All right. Kyle Williams. This isn't going to be a Kyle Williams segment, but I am excited because I do think there are going to be paths for him to score, and that's some of the fallout here. And I think the way he's played in the preseason made it easier for them to get rid of someone who didn't want to be there with Kayshon Boutte.
So when we're looking at this offense, Dobbs is a dirty work guy. So Dobbs is going to be on the field. They're going to need him to do a lot of the tough work, moving the chains and underneath. Obviously, bring in A.J. Brown. And this team, they have a fullback on the roster, Reggie Gilliam. They paid him to bring him in. They drafted Eli Raritan, the tight end. So again, we already know Josh McDaniels likes his heavy personnel. So Kyle Williams is going to be a staple in 3 receiver sets. But I think the beauty here is this. I don't know for sure, but I expected 3 receiver sets. I think they kick A.J. Brown inside because he is a beast over the middle. And I think Kyle Williams kind of takes that Kayshon Boutte role of last year when he's on that outside. And Kyle Williams
stretching the field.
Exactly. And there's going to be some big catches there. Again, consistent volume will be an issue. Now, the Patriots have a significantly tougher schedule, unless who wouldn't? It was the cupcake of all cupcake schedules last year. But Williams will have games. And if they're playing a high-powered offensive opponent, those are the weeks you really want to circle Kyle Williams as a player who could outscore expectations. And of course, if Brown or Dobbs were to miss time, Kyle Williams is really a player that could be a fast mover for you in fantasy.
Exactly. And this is one where I'm not like, if you're in Dynasty, guys, I know my Dynasty bros are out there watching, go put out some feelers for Kyle Williams because I think his price is going to jump up. He's not someone that you're going to love throwing in lineups, but I think in year 2, year 3, like if anything, he could be the next Boutte where he's playing well and he's like, hey, I want more targets. And then we're wanting him to be a Raider or something next year. And then he gets traded. And then in season, he's someone that I think is going to be what I like to call these wide receiver handcuffs, because if something happens to Dubs, if something happens to A.J. Brown, Kyle Williams can step in right away and have value. And then on top of that, if you're in like a best ball style format, he's the ultimate like best ball throw. And I think he's going to be a good like skinny backdoor stack for Drake May if that is your thing. So this was a Kyle Williams segment. Sorry, guys. Faller, Cam Ward. We need to have a conversation, Jim. I always say the preseason doesn't matter when they play well. It does matter when they play bad. It matters more when they play bad. If you're beating up backups, you're supposed to beat up backups. You're supposed to win on scripted plays. Cam Ward just has not played good football since he's been in the league. He's not, man. Are you concerned about him this season?
So, yes, I am concerned. I'm especially concerned long term. This year, if you're drafting him super late in a super flex league, there is a sliver of hope for this year, and here's why. Brian Daboll will show nothing on tape during the preseason. And I remember when Brian Daboll got a season out of Daniel Jones. It was the only good season he had to that point before last year. And I remember before Josh Allen was good, Brian Daboll can cook up some crazy smoke and mirrors stuff to like get his quarterback way more productive for a short period of time until the book is out on what it's done. And that's what happened to that Giants team. When they made the playoffs, the book was out. He couldn't do anymore. So I do think for fantasy, Cam Ward could just like for no reason give you a decent quarterback 2 season. But I think once the smoke and mirrors wear off, and I expect Daboll to do that, it's going to be a problem because he does not look like he fits right now. Last year, took 55 sacks, and a lot of us say sacks are a quarterback stat. You could get rid of the ball. Sometimes your line's bad, and we understand that. But when you're taking a lot of sacks, it's normally on the quarterback, under 60% completions. Yeah, I'm not excited, Jay. Long term, I'm very worried about Cam Ward, though.
Yeah, and to pull up from my old tweet, is my scouting report from 2024. I don't believe, and this is when we thought the Raiders were going to be, they're going to win the trash cans racing down the street. They lost. But I said, I don't believe Cam Ward is the second best QB, but I believe the Raiders would think that. I'm not saying Ward is a bad player, but it's easy to ignore his head scratching decisions and how long he holds the ball when he puts up gaudy stats and wins. He is the exact same player I saw in college, man. Because it's the boring stuff that football dudes say that some people in fantasy, they're like, well, like the box score. College is not the same as the NFL, man. You got to be on time and on target. The average 3 seconds is a long time in the NFL. You can't be playing around, missing college defenders who are going to make it in the NFL and then playing hoops, because he played like backyard hoops. That's how he played football. Wonderful to watch in college, but How do you get that into a system? And for you guys who have watched me, Cam Ward was a huge offseason buy because, Jim, what you said, I actually liked Dayball. I liked the system around them. I liked that they got Carnell Tate. I liked that they got Wan'Dale Robinson. Calvin Ridley is now a wide receiver 3 that you don't have to depend on. If he's good, great. If he's not, you have some safety there. Even Shamir DK can be a quality target there. I'm kind of out now.
Yep.
I'm just out, man. I did say I liked him in Superflex. I don't want a part of him in Dynasty. I was saying that, like, hey man, I would trade, Fernando Mendoza for Cam Ward because I think Cam Ward can make that leap and they're around the same price. Or I literally said that you should tear down off Jackson Dart to get Cam Ward plus. Don't do that. That was wrong, guys, because it's fugly. I don't love it, man. That makes me worried about Carnell Tate as well. Like, I'm worried about Carnell Tate. I kind of don't want to draft him anymore. It's going to be a long season.
It is, but I'm telling you, Jag, they're going to trail a lot. And they're going to have to throw a lot. And they might not move the chains a lot. But it's going to be really hard to see Carnell Tate not getting 130 targets. It's going to be very hard to see because somebody's going to have the ball thrown to them. And like I said with Daboll and the smoke and mirrors, it's going to be we call them these mesh concepts, where you have players on both sides of the field running across each other to kind of confuse the linebackers and safeties. And they're really quick, easy throws. And as poor as the completion percent of Cam Ward's been, I think that's going to be a staple of their smoke and mirrors offense. And it's not going to get big yardage on plays. But I think, and again, I'm not super excited about Carnell Tate, but I think from a PPR perspective, I think he can pile up catches for a team that's going to be playing in trail mode often.
Jameis Winston is what I just heard.
Right?
It's not going to be good, but it might get you points. So in a redraft, Dynasty, I am panicked. Yep. Moving to a riser. This is hilarious that I have to say this.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Deshaun Watson.
Don't do it.
Deshaun, he's technically a riser, guys. It's by riser, I mean, you tried to flush him down the toilet. The Browns, they tried to take the Browns to the Super Bowl, flush him down the toilet, and this turd floated back up. This is what I mean by a riser, Jim.
Oh my God.
We got to talk about him. I think this somehow makes that Browns offense worse. Shadur Sanders, again, I go back to the point that I made earlier. It doesn't matter as much when you play well, but it does matter when you play bad. Deshaun Watson has not played good football in a kid's entire high school career.
Yes. Even a super senior, like a 5-year high school student.
Yeah, dude. It's not been good. So KC Concepcion, I'm still drafting him, but what's the over and under games you think Deshaun Watson goes out there?
0.5. He will be pulled after halftime of the first game. That's how bad he is. Jag, he preseason game against the Bears looked awful. Every chance he has looked awful. I think the one game, it wasn't the Bears, it was a different game, a different team. But I remember that one game, 9 completions out of 10. Oh, nice. So what? Dink and dunk. He's done. Half a game, Jag. He's going to be so bad in that first half, he's going to throw a pick six or take a crazy sack or do something wild. He will be out before the game's over in week 1.
Yeah. Every analyst, I've never seen fantasy, the Browns as a fan base, everyone's so unanimous that Deshaun Watson should not be a starter. I heard Stephen A. Smith and I think Dan Orlovsky have the same opinion. They have some wild opinions out there sometimes. Kyle Brandt, everyone, the biggest personalities that have said, man, how do you trot Deshaun Watson out there when the fans hate him? And then Deshaun Watson made horrible comments. It feels, are they making money off the memes? I'm confused. This feels deliberate. This is a dynasty manager. Well, I'm going to take my team to go get another quarterback. I feel bad for Todd Monken. How do you deliver that news? And it just makes zero sense for me. Are you drafting Quinshon Judkins or any players still off this team?
Like I said, the one thing I worry about as I say this, I hope the owner didn't force Monken into a long-term start thing. I say it's a half a game. I hope the owner didn't say, you got to give him 4 weeks. I hope that didn't happen. I'm going to go under that assumption he didn't. And in that case, I'm fine on Judkins. Judkins was averaging 15.7 PPR points in 4 games, and 4 or 6 games. And then after that, the defense has said, "Oh, wait a minute. They don't have a line. They don't have a quarterback. They don't have receivers. We're just going to stuff the box and stop him." And they did. And then he got hurt. But Judkins potentially has an upgraded line. The line could be like 20th best instead of like number 31 or 32. That's enough for Judkins. And they have new receivers brought in with Fannin. So they got Concepcion, they got Boston, they got Jeanty. I think there's enough where Judkins will get some space to move, and he is a really good player. He can catch, he can run. He is going to be a player that can really do well for this team. I don't think Dylan Sampson's a big hit to a snap count. I do like Quinshon Judkins, especially where he's going. He's in that tier that goes after David Montgomery in that group. He really is cheap for his price.
Yep. I've drafted quite a bit of Judkins, like especially if running. A lot of people are going robust running back now. It's the days of old. The zero RB is dead. So Judkins has been my, oh shit, this didn't work out for me, RB2 type of stuff that I've liked, or if I need an RB3 to take a dart on, I'll take him. Which brings me to another running back that I've liked a lot, TreVeyon Henderson, running back of the Patriots. They said that it's going to be a 50-50 split. They have said that. I have still wanted to bet on the talent, because when we look at this in a vacuum, TreVeyon Henderson had 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns on 43% snap share. That's bonkers, man. That's great numbers. At the same time, in all the camp reports said that Ramondre's been the better player. How long that will last, I don't know. I'm a Pats fan. I've watched a lot of Ramondre Stevenson. He is a frustrating player, man. He's a frustrating player because I watch him have 3 good plays, then fumble the ball or something like that, or have like an egregious drop or something. I am almost still willing to bet on that, but are you going to be having any TreVeyon Henderson after everything that we've known?
So we probably will disagree a little on this, which is fine. We're all thinking this through our own way. And what I say is this. Last year, Ramondre Stevenson fumbled 3 times in 5 games. And Coach Vrabel came out publicly and said, "I'm not punishing him." But what that really meant was he coached him up, because there were 12 games after that. Stevenson never fumbled again. And they played in Denver. And 1 fumble would have kept them out of the Super Bowl probably, because that game was that close. And it was awful weather. And they were playing Denver's defense. And they put the ball in Stevenson's belly 25 times. Henderson only got carries when the game was over late. That was it. And that's how much they trusted Ramondre Stevenson. And the other thing is, Ramondre Stevenson is going to keep Drake May's head on his shoulders. He's going to protect the heck out of him. TreVeyon Henderson, they said that the protection, which was so bad last year, is still an issue in camp. I don't dispute you. 1,100 yards from scrimmage he had, and all those touchdowns. He can make the big play. But Mike Vrabel is coaching a team that wants to have a physical profile. And Ramondre Stevenson is a big boy back that will give you those 4-yard gains like I was talking about earlier, the 4, the 5, the 3, to keep you in down and distance situations. Henderson's a very good player, but I think he is a little more boom or bust as well. And he did like he scorched the Bills, who were terrible against the run. He scorched the Bucks, both for like 147 each. Both had issues against the run at those points in time. But there were a lot of games where, again, the big runs are great, but I think Stevenson really gives them more on a down-to-down basis. So Henderson, who's the more expensive back in fantasy, it's going to be these games. Remember how much snap share he lost in the playoffs? The team clearly trusted Stevenson, and they didn't trust Henderson. Jag, I'm nervous about it.
I get it, man. I'm officially. What's crazy is I was in Vegas, guys. So I recorded a bunch of stuff, and then I had my last flag plant little short video up, and I had TreVeyon Henderson there, and I'm like, damn, this is tough putting this up, but I gotta go, I gotta stick to my guns. And I interviewed Austin Eckler. I said Tootin or Henderson, and he went with Tootin. So I've been taking a lot of L's on Henderson, but at the end of the day, man, and here's the other thing that I'm confused about, because one report that I did say it's the blitz pickups that's the problem. Like if it's something coming off the edge, he can do it, but the blitz pickups have been a huge issue. In college, he was the best pass blocker.
He was.
That's what I don't. It's mind, like, to me, that's probably a classroom thing that he has to be able to read the offense like the quarterback does to understand protection. And if you understand and watch a lot of Josh McDaniels, he runs a very complicated offense that is all about the players understanding what's happening as much as the quarterback, because there's option routes that may shift things with protection depending on what's seen. And if he's not getting that, that's going to be something that's going to take time. Patriots rookies take time to learn the system. I just hope he figures it out. Fun fact, the best player in this role, I'm going to be on his pod later, James White, today. So I'll ask him, hey, man, can you coach up my boy here? Because I need some of that production. Let's talk about a riser. This has been one of my other favorites. I am right. Terrance Ferguson's good. I think he's good at football, but he was a tight end, and he was a tight end they didn't need to be good right away. They're saying that he's playing everywhere. Basically everything but running back he's out there doing. My big thing is I think he's already, let's just say, the de facto wide receiver 3. What does that mean? That's a great question. But let's think of this like a handcuff situation. Puka Nacua, he's had some health issues. He's had some mental health issues at this point off the field. They haven't ruled out suspension for him. I think the Vegas pulled his week 1 lines because of injury. There's a lot of question marks there. Davante Adams, he's old. And I'm not saying I like Davante Adams. I've rostered Davante Adams. There's just that inherent risk that you have to have in there. I'm 34, guys. I was playing basketball with my nephew and I ruptured my Achilles. Age and injury is a very real thing. I'm living it firsthand. Do you feel good about Terrance Ferguson? And someone mentioned to me that he's the ultimate home league winner right now because thus those of us who were locked into the draft, who scouted him, those of us who are refreshing Twitter, looking at all the beat reports know about Ferguson, but the ADP has not caught up to the hype at all.
And it probably won't, because people remember Colby Parkinson from last year. They may remember Tyler Higbee, and they will remember that Ferguson got such few targets last year. But Jag, you are on to this one, and some of the community's waking up on it as well. Yeah, all right, so he has 11 catches last year. All right, so big deal, 25 targets. But this whole thing with the Rams and the 3 tight ends, you're going to hear people say, oh, they ran it 30% of the time. That's the laziest analysis out there. They didn't start until week 9. They were running it 46 to 50% of the time. And so what that means is half of the plays are going to have 3 tight ends, 1 receiver. Terrance Ferguson was learning a complex offense, like you said. His role is going to be their deep threat, and they're going to move him around. And defenses are going to have to put players in the box because they're going to have 3 tight ends in the field. You can't just put people deep. And so Ferguson's going to be deployed as the downfield receiver. We already saw that. And it's going to be a role where defenses can't focus on him because you don't know which of the 3 tight ends are going to be used. So when he's getting plays, this is going to be jackpots because either Puka or Davante are on the field. They're prime priority number 1 for the defense. So yeah, Terrance Ferguson, it may not be heavy targets every week, but as a tight end, he, like in the tight end 2 range, he is going to have some real boom weeks. It's going to be a great year for him overall.
Yeah, I've flirted with putting him in Dynasty. I've moved him to top 12. That I'm sick.
Yes. Yep.
As far as redraft, it's like you said. People like he's a top 12 tight end. 12 tight end 12 is not. It's not hot, guys. That's not you. Oh, I drafted the tight end 12. That's not the reason you won your league. But where I'm saying relatively to where you drafted him, you could avoid that tight end dead zone where like I'm not going to be drafting Mark Andrews, George Kittle. If you do draft him, I'm definitely drafting Terrance Ferguson because how healthy is he going to be? When is the substation going to decide it's going to flare up again? I don't know. There's a lot of risk there. I would rather just wait and get out with someone like Terrance Ferguson. And I wouldn't be surprised if he can finish closer to tight end 5. That's upside. That's like best case range of outcomes. Jesus comes down from heaven, parts the clouds, and kisses him right on top of the helmet. That's what I'm saying if he's tight end 5. But that's relatively decent upside. We're going to finish with another riser. It's Tre Tucker. He's been with the Raiders. He's been the only one they said who separated himself. Is this the world's tallest short man thing? Like what does being a Raiders wide receiver 1 mean? Because when I read that, I was like, well, what do you mean by that? You know, like get ready to learn, clear out, buddy. You know, that's what it feels like to me.
I remember a few years ago when Clint Kubiak was coaching the Saints and Derek Carr was the quarterback. And by week 4, like everybody got hurt. But in those first few weeks, remember they lit up Dallas for like 50 points and they lit up somebody else. They were just using Kubiak's run system, but then they were taking deep shots. The defense had to play the run, and it was Derek Carr hitting up some deep shots. And I know Rashid Shaheed is a player, but that said, those throws were like wide open. And Tre Tucker, potentially, if he ends up with the heaviest snap share of these players, he is going to get schemed deep shots. Now, the problem is, what weeks will he get that? Because it's not going to be every week. And that's the problem. He will have, like, if you're a DFS, he's definitely a low salary guy. You want to get in and take a shot if you think you'd get a downfield shot. But consistency will be a problem.
The dreaded term, better in best ball.
Right.
Womp, womp, womp. That means it's someone that, like, yeah, he's your last pick right now. That's fine. Having a wide receiver one, a starter as your last pick is fine, but it's like you said, man. The weeks he goes off, he's going to be on your bench. The weeks you want him to play, that's going to be a 2-target game that he doesn't really get any completions, because it's actually 2 issues. It's that he's a boom bust play style, and let's put it this way: he's a better wide receiver 2, best as wide receiver 3. The quarterback play is going to be, even better wide receiver 4. And then you don't have good quarterback play on top of that. Where Fernando Mendoza, could he be good in the future? Yeah, he could be. He's just not good right now. Kirk Cousins, he's another one. I have not seen good football from Kirk Cousins in 2 seasons in a row now. One might say 2.5 to 3. I don't know, man. I'm not into it at all. I'm not into it. I'm not into any of the quarterbacks anymore. Talk about 2 of the best players with Ashton Jeanty and Brock Bowers. The least stackable team I've ever seen. Like, I do not want to stack that at all. Okay. Those were our recent risers and fallers. This next week of preseason, guys, what you want to take away is anyone playing is fighting for their life. For the most part, it is rookies that they're showing that we need to see a little bit more for you. But hey, man, show me something, or you're going to be packing it in. So the Caleb Johnsons of the world, it's looking pretty Jover for Caleb Johnson. Homie cannot break away for anything. But players like that, if someone plays well, all you could hope for is that they make a team. Don't make any drastic moves at that point. And for you dynasty guys, a lot of your darlings you're going to be looking at getting cut, like Eli Heidenreich. I know I keep picking on Steelers running backs, but that dude was I've never seen a 6th-round running back who was destined to be a special team or get a red carpet rolled out for him like he did in Pittsburgh. Like that, I think that's dumb. But that'll do it for me, guys. I'll have Jim on a lot more often. Now that we're in season, it's pretty much just going to be the RotoWire crew because we're all locked in consistently on here. So it'll be a lot more Jim. It's me, Jagger May. As I mentioned, that's Jim Coventry. This was a Risers and Fallers episode. Love you guys, and I'll see you next time.